Alrighty, folks, we need to have that conversation. It's like one of those things we do once a year. Why we invest in rentals and we don't in stocks. Let me just get this out of the way right now. You can, and many do, become great stock investors and great real estate investors. I, myself personally, cannot. My makeup does not allow me to be a great stock market investor, and I own that decision. But we're going to talk with Casey from Brick by Brick Wealth and see where she comes down on this real estate versus stocks. Casey, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Michael. And I will tell you, like in my Instagram feed, 'cause I'm mostly on Instagram, it's half stocks, half accounts, financial wisdom, stock market, and then real estate. And I'll tell you, like, there's a lot of reasons why I personally choose real estate over the stock market. I'm not saying we don't do stock market. My husband has a W-2 job. He puts into his 401k. He gets matching from his company. Sure. But do we put all our money into 401k, all our money into stocks and learn all that stuff? No, we don't. One reason is, for me personally, I find it uber boring. Like, that doesn't excite me. And that's just, like, I don't know if it's stupid or what, but it's just boring. Like, I just don't want to learn that.
That is so funny. You say stocks are boring. I actually think stocks are too exciting for me. Right.
Yeah.
Trading, buy, sell, put, call, straddles, blah, blah,
That
blah,
screams
iron
math
condors.
at me. Math class. I'm going to die.
Duck. Oh, that's hilarious. It's funny. We both look at it. And again, if you invest in stocks, you have discipline, you know the rules, you have your stops, you're selling call, you can do it.
Yeah,
Some people
for sure.
can't. I can't. It's like as soon as I own stocks, I'm already thinking about when to sell. Right. I'm trying to get better. I have a buddy I talk to Dion on Sundays. He's helping me understand where to put my stops, my position sizing. So I'm getting a little bit more mature. But boy, when I was heavy into stocks, it was gambling. I was gambling, and
Yeah.
I can't do it. It's
And,
not for me.
that's really the reason why it's boring to me, is because I do not have the self-discipline to sit there and learn and be engrossed in the economy and this and that and companies and blah, blah, blah to be successful. It gets just too risky, and I am a super low risk person. I watched my parents, spend their money for their whole life and they never really saved anything. And now they live in a tiny little house in the middle of nowhere in Mexico. Sounds luxurious, but it's not, because they didn't have retirement. So, because, like, I feel like that's my subconscious mind that's, don't be too risky. Careful where you put your money. Don't want to lose it. Don't want to be like mom, dad. Love you, mom, dad.
Love your mom and dad.
Hope they don't see this video. But real estate for me, especially investing in long-term rental properties, is virtually risk-free. I mean, once you get it down, you learn the process one time, you repeat. It's all the same, and it's always a good time to buy. You just change your strategy, change what you're looking for, and the deals will be there. You'll make money, put in good tenants. It's just like turnkey. It's like clockwork. I got to learn one thing. With stocks, I feel like I'm having to always be learning, and it's just too much in my mind. Like, and it's obviously not exciting. I don't like that. There's just so many more benefits for me, less risky to buy rental properties than stocks. And people do both all the time, but for me, I'm a virtual risk-free person, and I feel like real estate is definitely the place to be at if you're less risky.
Yeah, I think real estate for the average person, I mean, there's a right way to do it, right? You make your money when you buy, you get long-term debt, you make sure it cash flows day one, you run a good business, you're a good operator, you don't gamble, you don't bet on appreciation. And the historical record for real estate is really unquestioned, right? Inflation's a feature, not a bug. That said, Warren Buffett has shown us you can be a great stock market investor. You can pick, you can buy great companies at an okay price or a fair price. Um, again, I think I think everybody needs to know who they are. My general opinion is most people are either stock people, crypto people, or real estate people. Now
It's hard to find both.
Yeah, there are people, and there's a couple on my channel, who are great at both. And for them, it's easy. But I would suggest that for most people, it's not. And some of it's emotion, some of it's interest, some of it's math, right? What spooks you out. Some of it's your baggage from your parents.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I am really happy that I was 100% real estate for, I don't know, call it 18 years after being 100% stocks for 3 years. Now I'm probably 85% real estate, 12% stocks, and 3%, you know, insurance and crypto. But diversification when you get to my age and where I'm at, it makes sense. When I was stacking chips, I didn't look at anything else. Daily discipline, what's going on today, what's going on today. So yeah, I think people need to pick their lane. There are the rare people that can do both. I just don't think that's most people.
I think it's two different brains. Like personally,
Yeah.
I'm a English person, I'm creative, I'm a people person. That's real estate. I feel like a lot of the stock markets are more analytical minds, math brains,
Yeah.
can focus, and not super
Not
social
like
people.
gloss over. Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, no, and like I remember
Yeah.
statistics class in high school. I said, no, this just blows. Like
Yeah.
I was a business major for all of like 1 year, and I said, oh, I'm gonna turn this into a minor. I'm going to communications. This is way more my lane, much more fun, and way easier.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah. It's
I don't know.
but and again, we can only talk about our history. When I look out over the next decade, depending on how you listen to, the stock market could be a lost decade. Real estate obviously is high price, high rates. It's like, where can you find the value? And
Yeah,
I think real estate is the place where most people can find value if they do the work, right?
yeah,
Find the motivated seller, structure deals, get creative. There's just a lot more options. With stocks, it's like, that's the price. It might
yeah.
change tomorrow or might change next minute, but that's the price. In real estate, you can get creative. You can do seller financing. You can write disrespectful offers, and there's all these other things you could take your shots in real estate that you really, I mean, I guess you can do options, but let's be clear, that's not for most people with
Yeah.
stocks. But yeah, it's I think real estate's a lot more rewarding if you do the work.
I remember in back in California, before I moved out here, this 2000 whatever 2008 9 whenever the market crash happened, the stock market it tumbled.
Mhm.
I was working part-time at a company while I was doing real estate on the side, and there was a lot of older people in the office, and because I was in my 20s at the time, and there was a lady there. Her name was Fran, and she was sitting at her desk crying, and she was like 55. She wasn't even that old, but she was 55 or so, and she's crying. I'm like, what? Like, what's wrong? And she said, well, I was going to retire next year, but my stock portfolio, the value just plummeted. And now I have to work an extra 5 years.
Oh,
I'm like, I mean, that was an eye opener to me. Still gives me chills because I remember it. And everyone in the office is old, ready to retire before they're 60, were just like shell shocked. Like, the value in their accounts just tanked. Now they don't have the money that they thought they were going to have to retire. And I'm like, oh my God, can't put all your eggs in that basket. So yeah, we contribute to our 401k. Blake does. And I opened one last year to help with taxes for my coaching business. But, all our big money is going into real estate. Rents rise with inflation. I'm always going to make cash flow. Just as long as you cash, like you say, as long as you cash flow from day one, and you put in good tenants and you don't buy a money pit, your property will always make you money as long as you're also in an appreciating area, which means rents are going up, your value of prices, house is going up. I mean, it's just a no brainer. I mean, I'm just going to be just fine. I don't have to worry that my housing value is going to drop by 40% when I retire, because if it does, will it really even matter at that point? I mean, probably not, because it's going to have been worth so much more. Every 10 years, my home will double in price. Like, I'm going to be just fine, even if that happens.
yeah. For me, at the end of the day, when I got into real estate after losing 80% to the stock market, was I just want 4 rentals. I was 30 years old, maybe 31. I'm like, if I get 4 rentals, my retirement will be better than most people. I mean, that was my genius goal at 31, was just to get to 4. And I think if most people got to 4, their retirement would be better. I think it's that simple.
Oh, yeah. Life changing. just life-changing.
Yeah. Casey, where can people find you?
People can find me every day on Instagram at Brick by Brick Wealth, as well as all the other social media platforms. So you can check my website, brickbybrickwealth.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much.